Okay, so very good afternoon, students. I hope you are doing well after your fifth semester exam breaks. So this is your Dipon sir, and I would give you a short glimpse of what I'm going to teach you in this particular semester, in this particular subject, that is entrepreneurship and startups. This is completely a vast thing, and you need to understand every point and parts that is required for this particular subject. And obviously, it doesn't have a predicate syllabus, but definitely it's a vast thing and a vast field to explore, and definitely you're going to understand. So, yeah, we are going to start off with this particular what is actually and who is actually an entrepreneur, or what is basically the term. Entrepreneur is someone that a person who owns who owns a particular business or makes it a business of finding a problem that is already existing and needs a solution and creating something that might implicate a change into the environment. So obviously there are certain risks associated with that, because if you are creating something new, if you are creating something of your own, obviously that might require some kind of possible challenges which you are going to face over the time being, and the organizing. Obviously the most important thing is the organizing part is the most important thing, where the difficult parts are associated with the typical ranges are basically undertaken, and a problem solution is given on the basis of the problem statement. So what are the characteristics of a successful entrepreneur? Obviously the person must be persistent, because unless and until the person is not at all persistent, I mean, if the person is not at all serious about what he is trying to do, what he is trying to build, it might get hampered, and eventually there are thousands and millions of people who start something and gets onto it, but eventually the challenges and the difficulties which they have over the time period on the creation might face difficulties and eventually leave, basically. So the person must be serious and persistent to what he or she is doing or wants to do. The person must be creative. The person must be creative in the sense the person must be open to several kinds of ideas, differential ideas, and vast fields in where the person must be have the kind of imagination and the ideas which might implicate to give it a change and make it a smooth. So, what are the responsibilities? Obviously, the responsibilities must be differential in nature, because the responsibility doesn't mean that the person is doing and he needs to do it. That is not the thing. The person must be, eventually, it is basically related to persistency only. Because if the person is not at all serious about the thing, then eventually it will gets out. So, and the main thing is the goal oriented, because the goal orientation is the important part, because in a journey, basically it's a journey from start to end, and it doesn't end basically. End means creation, complete creation and settlement. And eventually it doesn't mean that you are completely settled. Even if you get into a unicorn, I mean, if you are getting into a successful, if you're becoming a successful entrepreneur, doesn't mean you're not going to face any kind of challenge afterwards. Obviously, you're going to have a team who might work and help you out, but eventually you have to take the risk to become a successful entrepreneur. The goal must be fixed, that I have to create this, and this is the ways that I'm going to do. And independent. The person must be independent of several thoughts and expressions, because if the person is basically attached to several kinds of difficulties and strings, if the person is not at all serious, then he or she might definitely fail with the idea that has came up on the mind. And the person must be self-confident. There are thousands of difficulties which he or she might face on creating, because obviously if you are doing something that might bring a change into the environment or the organization for which you are doing, so obviously there are certain factors which might definitely create boulders or barricades into your reaching your goal. And the risk takers, most important part is the risk taking, because there are thousands and millions of drawbacks which might come into your way on your journey to become a successful entrepreneur. What are the skills? Communication skill must be strong. What you are trying to do, you must express it with your co-founder or whatever your team which you are building. Human relations must be fixed because if you are going for a funding, for an example, if you are creating a company, if you are creating a particular organization, obviously your skills set, whatever you have, must be fixed, and whatever you want to do must be clear with the person you are correlating with or associating with. Your math skills must be perfect because unless and until your budget or whatever you're trying to do is not at all fixed, then it might go south. And what are the problem solving and the decision making skills? Problem solving and the decision making skills must be, obviously, if you are getting into some kind of problem, your memory must be that much strong to create that kind of solution and decision making particular. Because to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to have a decision that might come in your way and you have to take it rapidly. The technical and the basic business skills. Obviously, if you are, unless and until whatever you are doing into that particular journey, your skills must be set into that particular, your skills must be set into that particular thing, and you must know each and every part of that. For an example, if you are creating a business, a startup, you're an entrepreneur, you are creating a business that might change something. You must have that basic knowledge, and the entire in-depth knowledge must be set. So, what are the entrepreneurial processes? 5 steps: discovery, concept development, resourcing, actualizing, and harvesting. Discovery: your idea has come up to your mind. It must definitely it must be flourished. To flourish that, you have to concept the development. You have to create a forecast and create a plan, actual overview of what you are doing and what you want to do. Your basic part must be clear, and you have to create what are the pros and cons. Resourcing: you have to create a team. You have to bring on to talent, onboard your talent team who might bring the changes and what are the skill set that are required to do a particular operation. Actualization and harvesting. Actualization and harvesting, what you particularly want to do, your goal must be set and it must be crystal clear of what your journey must be and how you want to make it with your team that you have already taken, the talent team. For an example, you are starting a business. You have to develop, forecast a plan, whatever you are doing based on the past experience and the market analysis, acquire finances. If you are starting a business, you are commercializing it, obviously. If you are commercializing it, if you are starting a business, you need finances for the start. Your finances, your shares must be completely, what I would say, your plan must be set and whatever you are trying to do and whatever the legal requirements are there. Obviously, if you are doing something that might bring change, your legal sides must be checked and to be precise in crystal crisp manner. What are the plans that needs to be developed for a business plan? Detailing must be fixed, purpose of the thing, and whoever or how you are going to approach your investors or lenders for your financing part. So this is the basic part which I'm going to teach you. I'm not getting in depth into this. So obviously the components which I'm going to bring and make you understand, that is the executive part, the product part. Your obviously if you are making a product based company, your product must be completely precise and it must be in such a manner that you need to express every hook and corners, nook and corners of every part. And the product and it must bring a complete change into the environment. Obviously, it must be unique. And your management team where your complete, what I would say, your talents whom you have hired or whoever your team is, you need to make them clear that whatever you're trying to do and how you're trying to do, and they must work in such a plan and they must bring such a plan that it must be completely crisp. And obviously the components that are related to that, the industry, the market analysis, obviously you must understand whatever there is going on in the market and you need to forecast whatever has happened previously so that you do not make the same mistake. and the plans and the executions must be completely crisp in that manner. And obviously, the organizational plan, how you're going to divide your work with the team, they must work in such a way around the clock so that obviously the work must be complicit and obviously it happens in a smooth manner. Like for an example, in an organization where you're already working, or obviously if you have worked before. And what are the components? Components are the marketing plan. Obviously, the marketing part is the most important part in a startup or whatever you're creating in a business. The marketing part is the promotional part where your product or your business might give it a boom. Because unless and until your marketing plan is not set, your marketing plan is fuzzy, you would not at all create or generate business out of it in a particular manner. It must be completely strategic and the growth plan must be exponential so that if even if you are facing any kind of difficulties, your goal must be fixed and your finance must be fixed in such a way that even if you are getting into the south, your plans must be fixed. So I'll definitely teach you in that manner so that obviously, as you know, that India is particularly giving the best startups in the world right now, and we are the fastest growing country in that field. So obviously your finances, because unless and until if you're, for an example, if you're creating a something, if you're creating a business, your plans are set, your ideas are set, but unless and until you have a financial plan or your financial goal, you will definitely not be able to move forward or proceed forward. So you need to forecast whatever the situations are, and you need to give a statement related to that, and definitely you need to move forward with your plans. And obviously, whenever we open a business or start a plan, definitely we move on to our friends or the families, and definitely we think that we might move in such a way that we might get help from them. And obviously, you can move on to your financial investors. Obviously, I'm going to teach you in that way only. You're going to this is just a glimpse of what I'm going to teach. So this is the particular way in which you are going to move, and I'm in details. I'm going to teach this in the class. So thank you.